The Seattle Mariners and the Boston Red Sox wrapped up their 4-game series to start the season in Seattle. They both split 2 games apiece. Luckily for the Mariners, they were able to win 2 games out of that series. Realistically, they could have easily been swept if not for George Kirby's outstanding season debut, as well as Julio Rodriguez and the rest of the crew coming clutch in extra innings on Saturday. Today, we're going to talk through some positives and some negatives that we saw from this series, and then preview the series coming up with the Guardians. Starting off with the positives, first and foremost, Nelson Cruz is retiring as a Seattle Mariner. That was cool and unexpected to see him sign a 1-day contract with the Mariners on opening day. Julio Rodriguez was also handed his Silver Slugger Award by Ichiro. That was really all the positive for opening day, as Luis Castillo had trouble finding his stuff. As with everything from this series, it is very early in the season. Luis Castillo, I'm not worried about one bit. He'll be the rock in the rotation. And the Mariners did, after all, face the Red Sox young ace, Brian Bello. He really looks like a young Luis Castillo with his arsenal and his delivery. Thankfully for the Mariners, on Friday night for the first City Connect night of the year, Angry George's Dreamland showed up ready to go. After uncharacteristically walking 2 out of the first 3 batters he saw that game, George Kirby locked it in, and he looked every bit of the ace that we expected him to be this year. He pitched 6 2/3 innings, gave up 2 hits, no runs, just those 2 walks with 8 strikeouts. And after the game, he talked about his use of the knuckle curve and how he's able to expand the zone with that pitch.
Yeah, curveball was a great pitch for me tonight. Cal's just like hammering his glove into the ground. I'm like, all right, I gotta get there. So, as long as I keep doing that, it's a pretty good swing and miss pitch. So just gotta keep getting that below the zone, working some other pitches off of it. Yeah, I hope there's not a lot of 1-0 games, but we do pretty well in them. So.
Last year, we saw a George Kirby who was just dominating the zone throwing strikes. This year, for him to take the next step to ace status, he'll be needing to expand the zone a bit more, showing batters that he can still live in the strike zone, but then put away pitchers outside of the zone at times. Also that night in the bullpen, Gabe Spire looked great. Ryan Stanek was trying to find the zone a bit, but then Andres Munoz came in for a 4-out save, his first of the year. And I cannot say how important it is to have a healthy Andres Munoz right now, especially with Gregory Santos, Matt Brash on the IL to start the year. Having Senor Smoke healthy to start the year in the back end of that bullpen is going to be huge for the Mariners. Also from this series, prime Mitch Haniger is so back. He hit an opposite field 2-run home run on opening day. Over the weekend, hit another ball into the right center gap that very well could have been over the wall. He also had a couple other big hits throughout the series, and Mitch Haniger looks healthy, and he looks like he's back to that prime self of the Mariners version of Mitch Haniger that we saw before his stint with the Giants. We also saw Julio Rodriguez's first career walk-off hit that he's had in his entire career. If there was anything to complain about with Julio Rodriguez the first 2 years of his career, it was his clutch factor, you could say, late in games, in big spots of the game. There just haven't been many of those big moments where he had come through in the clutch. We'll say no more because Julio Rodriguez has his first game-winning hit of his career. He could put that one behind him. And if anything is to be said, especially with how the Mariners won in extra innings that game, the guy at the plate does not have to hit a game-winning home run every time they're at bat. Broken bat single, a bleeder into the outfield, just anything to make contact with the ball is what is needed in those clutch situations. And Luke Raley also showed off a bit of his wheels. Logan Gilbert on Saturday looked solid with that new cutter and that splitter that he's been rocking with. Again, there's no denying Luis Castillo, George Kirby, Logan Gilbert. The top 3 are going to be some of the best in the league. Bryce Miller on Sunday, aside from 2 fastballs that were left over the heart of the plate for a Tyler O'Neill home run, and then a 3-run shot later in the game that really sealed the deal. His splitter looked fantastic. He used this pitch 20% of the time on Sunday. 4 out of his 6 strikeouts came on this pitch. He used it against lefties, against righties, and this pitch had a 60% whiff rate on Sunday. The negative, obviously, on Sunday and the entire weekend was the Mariners' offense. The Mariners batters struck out in 25.9% of their plate appearances in 2023, which was a franchise record. Through 4 games this season, they've struck out 33.1% of their plate appearances, with 45 strikeouts and 6 walks over those 4 games. The Mariners over this 4-game series to start the year slashed 178 for batting average, a 226 on-base percentage, and a 271 slug, which is a 497 OPS. 51.6% of the Red Sox pitches that they threw throughout this series were breaking pitches, as clearly the Red Sox came in with their scouting report ready to go. The Mariners can hit the fastball, they apparently cannot hit the breaking ball, and the Red Sox stuck to that all weekend. The Mariners' 45 strikeouts to start the year are 3rd in baseball, only behind the Dodgers and the Pirates, and the Dodgers have played an additional 2 games with those first couple games in Korea. And the Mariners' 497 OPS is second worst in all of baseball, only behind the Cardinals. And if we think back to this prior offseason, the front office was stating that they need to get rid of the strikeouts and retool, need to go from the walks, strikeouts, and home runs to a more consistent approach at the plate. Well, to start the year, they've been even more strikeout prone. Of course, this is only 4 games, but they're going to have to figure out how to hit the breaking ball pretty quick. As the Mariners are slotted to go against some of the Guardians' best starting pitchers in their series starting today, Triston McKenzie will be on the mound today against Emerson Hancock. Triston McKenzie has a great 12-6 curveball. Tomorrow is their ace of the rotation in Shane Bieber. He's got that slider, of course. And then on Wednesday, they'll be facing the lefty Logan Allen. On top of the entire Mariners offense this series, Mitch Garver also missed 3 out of the first 4 games to start the year. He was in the first game and then missed Friday, Saturday, and Sunday due to back spasms. The thought process was that Mitch Garver not catching and being a DH only would allow him to stay on the field. We'll have to see what this whole back spasm thing is about and if it's going to be a consistent or lingering thing. But hopefully Mitch Garver will be written into the lineup today against the Guardians. So that's a quick recap of this 4-game series against the Red Sox. Again, they are very lucky to have come out with 2 wins against the Red Sox in this series. And they are also very lucky that the Houston Astros went 0 for 4 at home against the Yankees to start the year. As it currently stands, the Texas Rangers are 2-1, the Mariners are 2-2, the Angels are 1-2, and Oakland is 1-3, and then Houston is 0-4. Today's matchup against the Guardians will be Emerson Hancock going up against Triston McKenzie. Tomorrow, the Aces will be back on the mound in Luis Castillo versus Shane Bieber, and then we'll see George Kirby versus Logan Allen. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this series and the preview of the Guardian series coming up. And to stay up to date on all things Mariners and baseball, make sure to subscribe to the Couch GM, and we'll see you next time.